Hello. We've been following the stories of 5 key people of Leipzig that illustrate the history of East Germany. Yesterday, we heard of the horror and outrage following the destruction of a precious ancient church by the authorities in 1968. As time passed, the government realised its economy was struggling. So to improve this, they signed up to the 1975 Helsinki Accords with the West. In return for freer trade, East Germany had to recognise basic human rights, or at least appear to do so. However, this chink of openness eventually led to the end of the regime. Today, we're going to follow developments through the life of the orchestral conductor Kurt Masur. He was born in 1927, not far from Leipzig. He was conscripted to fight in the last year of World War II, but was then able to follow his intended career in music at Leipzig. After working in other parts of East Germany, he returned as chief conductor of the Leipzig Gewandhaus Orchester in 1970. He did not join the SED, the Communist Party of East Germany. Joining the party was often the best route to professional advancement. But nonetheless, Kurt Masur progressed and became very influential in Leipzig. In 1981, he persuaded Erich Honecker, the leader of the DDR government, that the current concert hall in Leipzig Zoo, as the original Gewandhaus concert hall had been destroyed in World War II, was not fit for purpose. During quieter passages of the music, animal noises would drown it out. He asked that they build a new concert hall for his orchestra, and this was eventually agreed. We'll hear later, in 1989, of another more important role beyond simply conducting music and helping get concert halls built. The East German government was anti-religious, but by the 1970s, there was an increasing accommodation with the church. This was partly because the church became less of a worry to them as a source of unwanted Western influence, as it had officially separated from the West German church. And the church was also running useful social projects, like hospitals and orphanages. So in 1978, the church was formally recognised in the hope that the church would be able to be aware of and temper some of the dissident activity that might be attracted to its fold. Those of us over 60 will remember in the 1980s the increasing East-West Cold War tension. In 1981, the Greenham Common Women started to protest about American nuclear weapons being sited in England. And similarly, in the early 1980s in Leipzig, people began to meet in St. Nicholas Church on Monday evenings to pray for peace. The church in Leipzig had also some years previously been given a role in monitoring local election results to add some legitimacy to the results. So when the state claimed that 98% had voted for the government in the elections of May 1989, the church checked local tallies and quickly contradicted this. This deceit by the government led to further anger from people. The repression was such that even making music publicly without permission was an offence. But on the 10th of June 1989, in an act of defiance, musicians congregated in Leipzig for a street festival. As an illegal act, the police moved in and arrested many of the musicians and bystanders. They cleared them away by 12, but protests in solidarity continued till the evening. And as TV cameras were in Leipzig for the trade fair, the violence became publicised in the West. Through 1989, also the number of people praying at St. Nicholas progressively increased. By the 4th of September, there were 1,000 people, and they went out to the square and demonstrated after their meeting. Security forces arrested many of them, but more and more people took part, and then there were further arrests. In early October, Kurt Masur, whose new Gewandhaus concert hall was on one side of the square, was well aware of the problems. He contacted the authorities and warned of a risk of a dangerous escalation in violence if, as had been announced in the newspapers, that the demonstrations would be crushed by force. He arranged to meet with 3 of the council leaders, together with 2 other protest leaders, one a theologian and one a performance artist, and these people became known as the Leipzig Six. They agreed that Kurt Masur would go on the radio and announce that the demonstrations must be peaceful and be followed by dialogue. At this demonstration on the 9th of October, 70,000 people took part. They chanted, "We are the people," and echoing the message of the radio broadcast, "No violence." All passed peacefully, as it had become clear to the Communist Party they could not continue to overwhelm this level of opposition with force. Kurt Masur opened the Gewandhaus for dialogue about the way forward. One of the memorials of this time is a bronze in the pavement showing footprints of people going from St. Nicholas Church to the Augustusplatz, a testament to the power of ordinary people. The momentum of protest was now unstoppable, and a few weeks later, on the 9th of November, the Berlin Wall fell, an astonishing event to those of us who saw it on TV at the time. And for the first time in over 30 years, there was free travel to West Germany. Jesus, in Matthew 5, verse 9, in the Sermon on the Mount, said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." So who were the peacemakers in this situation? Peace is not the absence of conflict. By just keeping quiet, the people of East Germany could be said to be living in peace. But real peace doesn't happen when we just do nothing in the face of evil. There had to be a level of conflict to bring peace about. So, who were the peacemakers? There were people in St. Nicholas Church praying for those who were being ill-treated because of their views, rather than just turning a blind eye. Others were joining in peaceful marches. TV cameras revealed the truth about what was happening and also helped steer events towards peaceful resolution. In Kurt Masur's case, he used the existing links from his time planning the concert hall. And he had the vision to see that violence was likely and that he might be able to do something to stop it. And indeed, even the local communist officials who risked meeting with him when they realised that attacking the protesters would now be fruitless were also grudgingly peacemakers, risking their own position in the East German hierarchy. I hope this can be an encouragement to us to believe that in a small way, each of us can act in some ways as peacemakers to make a difference in our society. I finish with a really tricky challenge. What action could I take to become a peacemaker in our troubled world?